Okay, hi class. So we are group four. I'm Ricky. That's Charles, Brennan, Jose, Alex. And today we're going to be introducing to you 9 soft skills needed for promotion and hiring. So what are soft skills? Well, by definition, they're skills that enable someone to work well with other people. You can also call them your people skills or your interpersonal skills. It's how well you communicate with others effectively using words or actions. And so this is important because, as a matter of fact, 77% employers evaluate potential employees, based on these skills. And you're probably wondering now, why is this relevant to us? Well, it turns out that our generation, millennials, lack these skills, and because everyone's different, some have better attuned skills than others, but there's always room for improvement. You can work on these over a period of time. You can probably learn them overnight, but not necessarily. I guess just depends on the personality that you are. But now we're going to introduce to you one of the points of the 9 soft skills. I'm going to pass it over to Charles Wagner.
So I'm going to be talking about work ethics here, and basically having good work ethic means to be focused, which means pay attention to detail, principled, you act in according to the standards held within some kind of organization, and virtuous, to act with good intent. I, as a waiter at an Italian restaurant, do this, have a good work ethic pretty much on the daily whenever I'm working. I have to work well with others and act as a kind of an agent in front of the customers that come in, and whatever I do or say reflects on the restaurant's image or can reflect on the organization that you're in. And dependability, that means to be loyal, to be faithful to whoever you're working for, reliable, to be consistent in whatever work that you're doing. Hopefully it's good work, consistent and good work, and trustworthy, to be worthy of someone else's confidence. And there are these people called bad actors in companies, and they're basically abusing their own power. For example, a salesman who has access to the treasury may make a sale for $2,500, but write it up as $3,000 and pocket the rest of the money, and only giving the company that they work for $2,500. And at my restaurant, we had this old worker. I'm not going to give his name out, but he was a bad actor, and he would tamper with the uh, the credit card slips, adding extra tip. We fired we fired him real fast, and had to just cancel all the tips that he had. And I'm going to pass it off to Brandon here. He's going to talk to you about self-awareness.
Right. So self-awareness is a very important soft skill to have in your everyday life, but it's especially important to have in a professional setting. So in order to be self-aware, you need to truly understand who you are. And to understand who you are, you need to evaluate yourself honestly. And to evaluate yourself honestly, you need to question yourself. And that's not in a negative way, but rather understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then capitalize on your strengths and work on your weaknesses. And adaptability is also another soft skill that's very important in your everyday life, but it becomes increasingly more important in a professional setting. In order to be adaptable, you need to harness your expectations. Don't worry about what you prepared, and you need to be willing to change because not everything's going to go the way you expect it to go. And being able to move forward is going to help you learn and grow immensely. And I'll pass it to Jose to talk about positive attitude.
Yes, positive attitude. Person who expresses encouraging thoughts or behaviors. Now, if you ask anybody, they will tell you that they are a positive person, but they only say that because that's how they view themselves. They don't see themselves through the point of view of their employers or fellow coworkers. And Ricky here, for example, after our practice presentation last week, and we watched the video, we were like, oh no. Ricky was like, no, 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 man, these are easy physics. We can do this easily. So I can say that Ricky is a very positive person. Next is communication, the means of sending or receiving a message. And we do this today by talking, email, or phone call. Now, in the professional world, whether you go into business or the private sector or the public sector, you will mostly communicate by email. Even here at UTD, the most common way that students and professors communicate is by email. Now I will pass it to Alex, and he will be talking about multitasking.
All right, multitasking. As you may already know, it's kind of impossible to do multiple things at once. You only have two hands and one brain. So it's really just increasing your productivity by shifting your focus to multiple things over time, not at once, but over time. And that means you're basically going to be doing a few different, you can look at it, I like to use the example of a baker, because if you look at one baker in a shop, he can't bake 9 cakes all at once, because one of them is going to kind of be a little worse than the others, because he can't focus enough time to all of them. So it's best if he actually focuses on one cake, he puts it in the oven, and then when that one's done baking, he moves on to another cake that's further along. So, essentially it breaks down to efficiency and flexibility, because you have to be efficient, meaning not wasting your time, and you have to be flexible, so you have to be able to move between these different processes without dropping the other ones, really. And the next point is collaboration, teamwork, which I'll expand on the baker analogy with. It's the ability to cooperate in a professional setting. So you can look at this like with a baker. Now add a bunch of different assistants into the bakery, and you're going to divide up the labor so that you're not having one guy, you're not going to have one guy working on one cake and another guy working on another cake, because that would be less efficient than just passing it along. And they can do more work than one person can on each part of the cake if they pass it along to the person who can do that part best. Or if they just divide up the labor and one person's doing one task while the other is, and they kind of have to shift between who's putting the icing on the cake at one point and who's baking the cakes, who's watching the timers, and they just have to kind of work with the way it works best at that moment. And it's task reduction, because overall you're going to reduce the number of things you have to do, because there's going to be people who are doing tasks faster than other people, and there are going to be people who are busy with tasks that take longer than other tasks. If you're taking OPRE 3310, this is like, I'm kind of just like reviewing for you almost, like the time it takes to do one task on one machine. But so I'm going to pass it back to Ricky, and he's going to talk about self-confidence.
Thanks, sir. Okay, now self-confidence, it's entrusting your ability to perform. It's a matter of knowing what you're doing. It's your certainty behind that, because for potential clients, especially your employers, they look for someone who is confident, that knows what they are doing, because, they ask you, hey man, like, am I doing the right move? Am I doing the right thing? Or, hey, are you up to track? Are you up to date? Can you handle this task? And you gotta be certain, you gotta be trustable, dependable. If something comes up, you have to be adaptable, and that's where all these soft skills come into play, and they can help improve your self-confidence overall. Believe in yourself, that's the first step. Once you gain experience from all these soft skills, you kind of value yourself enough to where you can contribute to firms or corporations, when need. So hopefully after learning these skills, you can adapt, or you can improve or work on, so that way you can separate yourself from the competition. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you.